Good morning and welcome to Dead Knitter Society. My name is Mira. This is my little corner of the internet where grief and fiber arts intersect. And this is the Knitting and Grieving podcast, which I'm trying to make into a weekly thing. So let's see how that goes. Episode 15, maybe, I think. It's always a question. I survived Mother's Day. And it was so exquisitely hard. Yesterday was really terrible, honestly. The whole weekend was pretty miserable, not just because of Mother's Day, but there were some surrounding factors that made such an incredibly difficult first Mother's Day, like honestly, a lot worse. I cried so much that like my pelvic floor is so angry at me right now. I'm meeting with my physical therapist today and gonna be like, I felt great until I hit Friday. And I'm not sure, like I mentioned in a past episode, I have a complicated relationship with this holiday. And my focus had always been on celebrating my mom. And maybe I'll do a better job next year of actually like bringing her spirit forward in it. But I also just straight up resent the hell out of like still having to be the one to plan anything if it's going to happen. So yeah, my executive function, being my family's executive function, is challenging. And honestly, like it is the Monday after Mother's Day. It's my sister's birthday. Happy birthday, Gabby. I just feel really deflated, I guess. I hope you weren't looking to like have a rah-rah Monday morning video because you're not going to get it from here. This was courtesy of my dear daughter a couple years ago. Yes, I am that mom. So yeah, that fucking sucked. That's all I've got. Like, it was awful. And I guess the next big thing that I'm, staring in the face is that she will be gone a year at the end of June. I just miss my mom and I want her back. Like, that's all I've got. I miss my mom and I want her back. So anyway, I don't always get what I want. So I was digging through more of the stuff that my dad had found of things that she made, and I found something that was a little bit out of character for her. She made these like baby overalls that have the legs that open so that it's an easy diaper change. She sewed in, you can see that she sewed in some snaps there, and it is a much thicker yarn than she would typically use. It's like a tweed, multicolored tweed, really cute. I think she made these for Isabella with adorable little buttons on them. And this is kind of simpler than her usual things. So I feel like she was just whipping something up out of what she had. And I honestly can't find anything extra. Like, there are no other garments in this yarn that I can find, or at least that I've found yet. So I don't know if this was just a one-off ball of yarn that she had grabbed on sale that she decided to make something out of. But yeah, and I still always marvel. She just had the numbers in her head. Like, she never knit a gauge swatch, and she would just cast on and it would happen. It was like, poof, magic. Wild. One day, y'all. So that was something that Mama made once upon a time. My small was small enough for that. So let me show you what I finished this week. I did get this Rudbeckia hat off the needles, and I was showing my daughter. So I really like a beanie, but I had tried, when I knit this, I actually did reduce like the height of this last brioche column. And there's part of me that's like, I should have just taken this out and flipped the decreases here, but I'm not sure if that would have worked out. But because the brim is reversible, I can roll it, and then it's the cute little beanie that I like, because when I wear it, I don't like slouchy. For whatever my head shape, my hair, I don't like slouchy. But this is my April Beanie Brigade. I chose to go and do a different pattern than what was suggested for the yarn. And I still have a fair amount left, enough to make rats out of. So I have been, I need to just eat this frog. The sewing part is my barrier. I have all the bits and pieces knit up, but I did figure out I was trying to put this on wrong, so I actually need to flip this little guy around and just like sew it without stuffing it at all. But literally I just need to like put on the ears and the legs, and then these will be done and ready to give to my coworkers. And I need to knit one more, and I was going to do it with this. So that's I have made no progress on the rats, but okay, that's okay. That's okay. And let's see, let me refer to the knitting journal, which is looking better in May than it did in April. I've been wearing my knits a little bit more. As you can see, my wish list of what I intend to do in the week and what I actually do, wildly different, but that's okay. I actually need to kind of think about this coming week. And definitely, I'm not going to start winter stuff, I think, until like July. So I'm going to keep on knits and tees, I think, for a little bit. But so I really do need to finish those because my coworker, the interns, will be leaving us. All right, what am I going to show you next? I'm going to show you what actually I think is we're going to frog, or what I'm still working on. Let me show you the progress I've made on my Tanager Tank. So I'm still kind of cooking along. This is the Tanager Tank by, I always get this wrong, I think it's Windhouse Farm Knits, Lacey Williamson. Great pattern support, wonderful, love. So what I did, let me find my progress keeper. I was getting really depressed moving this night by night. It's fingering weight yarn. This is Farmer's Daughter Fibers, one of their sock blends, and I don't remember which one. It was my February sock squad, I think. So I had been moving my progress keeper every night, and I started to feel like I was making no progress because I would do maybe 1.5 rounds and it showed nothing. This is a week's progress, and that feels a little bit more satisfying. So here, we'll move it for the new week. You know, the other thing that I realized in my knitting journal, my planner, like my life planner, the everything goes in it planner, I'm a Monday start person because I always hated how Saturday and Sunday, particularly when the kids were doing weekend long things, were separated. Can't stand that. I need to do the same thing with my knitting journal. I'm just a Monday start brain. Monday is the beginning of the week. So I'm going to put my progress keeper where I ended yesterday. Just hook that bad Larry on a stitch, hopefully without actually splitting it. There we go. So hopefully, I mean, I don't think I'll have this done by the end of the week. School is back, started. My son is with me this week. Unless something wild, I mean, I will have, so at work, I work for an elder service agency. We are a very large agency, an aging service access point, if you're in the lingo. And tomorrow is actually our older adult lobby day. So my company, there's a whole bus of us, a coach bus, that is going to the Massachusetts State House to lobby for various legislative initiatives to advocate for our clients and our consumers. And I'm very, very excited to be able to take part in that kind of advocacy and policy work. As a social work student, I'm in a clinical program, but I'm so acutely aware, particularly right now, that one-on-one or even small group therapy, like, to change the world, you got to change policy because I can't therapize through. You know, there's only so much behavior change and emotional support. You know, there's only so much you can do on the individual level when the systems are working against people. So that's my little, you know, social work rant for the day. So I'm very excited about that. And I will have the commute from, it's at least going to be a 45 minutes in the bus. So I should be able to work on that a fair amount. I also picked back up my Pixie Cardi because, well, the due date for this test knit was moved into June. I was like, 2 sleeves, I got to get cracking on this. So I've actually made good progress on this sleeve. It's the first sleeve. I am, because normally I just count my decreases, although it is faster, and I think I'm just going to incorporate this, not because I'm lazy or because I can't read my knitting, but particularly in honeycomb brioche, I can't find the decreases. It is really difficult because honeycomb brioche, if you look at it, it's 2 layers of fabric, and trying to find purl 3 together and purl 3 through the back loop, so I have my decreases as I make them marked. And I actually only have one more round, like one more set of rounds for this decrease, and then I can just knit on this sleeve. And then I'll do the same for the other. So I should be on target to finish that for the release. I also wanted to show you, because I'm not wearing a knit. My daughter was cleaning up her stuff. I made this stuffy for her like 21 years ago, and I don't know what weird boucle yarn. I have no idea. Something has chewed off the ribbon, but I never really got into the whole knitting animals, knitting stuffies thing. But I did make this for her, and she found it, and it's cute and adorable. So I just have it tucked at my desk at home. Other things that are kind of, they're really hibernating right now. I haven't worked on my Mabel sweater in eons. And I have not worked on my silk graffiti shawl. I really kind of want to get this tank top off the needles, and I want to finish this cardigan for the test knit. And then we're going to kind of look and see. One thing I wanted to do was kind of go through, I pulled out, and when you see me looking down, my laptop is right below my phone because we're fancy here, and go into my queue and sort of look at what I have had hibernating for some of it for a really long time. Let me tell you this one. So this is a Nordiska that I had started knitting in. I didn't put a start date, but this was pre-pandemic. This was probably 2018 if I look at the picture of my hair that's on Ravelry. And I was almost done with this. I was so close to done with this. And then I realized that I should have gone up a needle size for the sleeve color work and started frogging it back. And then it went into hibernation because I really didn't knit at all during the pandemic. But this was like so close to done. And it is so too small for me right now. Like, I think I knit this for a 36-inch bust, and mine is a 40-inch bust right now. And with a raglan, that's going to be real tight on ease. But I love, this was all, these are leftovers that I was using in the color work, and I freaking love this. So I am really, really tempted to, I need to weigh out how much yarn I have for the body, make a longer body, make this up a size, and know that I need to go up a size for the color work, particularly because the yarn that I used is actually a slightly thicker fingering weight. Like the main color is a very light fingering weight. This is Campfire Knits in the color Babery. And then these leftovers, I want to say this is like a Valley Yarns that I got probably in like 2011 at Webb's. And then the pinkish is actually left over from my Sweet Cables top. And that's definitely like a light decay. So I certainly need to go up a needle size, but I really feel like this one is worth frogging and reknitting because I think it's really cute and the colors are adorable. And I may actually try popping it on and like block what I have and see if I can get away with just redoing the color work and not necessarily all the raglan work. So this one is definitely going to still stay in the queue as hibernating, and we're going to come back to it because the colors are just too pretty. This one I think is going to suffer a different fate, and it's about to be loud and crinkly, and I'm sorry. Let me go, oh, excuse me, back to my projet. All right, Comfort Fade Cardi. We all remember in around 2018, 2019, when Andrea Mowry had the fade explosion. Everything was faded. So I started, and again, this is the thing, like what's slaying me is that this is pretty much finished body of the Comfort Fade Cardi, which I did in Campfire Knits. I despise how this faded. Like I put it on and it looks terrible. The yarn is so beautiful and it makes me so sad. But I really don't like how that faded in at all. It looks striped and not faded. And I don't know if it's because I needed to have a more intermediary color or what. And also, again, I started this in 2019. I was a solid 2 sizes smaller then. I think I'm gonna frog this and then weigh out the yarn and see what I can't figure out to make with it. Or even just if we're gonna be making a bunch of socks in this beautiful yarn. I don't know. It makes me so sad because the yarn itself is so freaking delicious. And I miss her yarn so much. But yeah, the way that this back portion faded and the striping, why I didn't go back and, who knows what I was thinking back then? I don't even know. Back in that bliss in the before times. So yeah, I think that's definitely going to be a frog in this one and repurposing. Here's another fun thing that I used to think was a great idea to do with my leftovers. Who remembers the Hexie Puff blanket? Have we talked about how much I hate sewing? Why, past Mira, did you think a great use of your leftover yarn would be to make hundreds of these tiny little hexagrams to then sew together? Sometimes my past self doesn't really align with my current self. But I mean, I have some of these. I almost want to just like make them into little Christmas tree ornaments because I can duplicate stitch like a year on them or something. That way what I have already made won't be completely wasted. And if I'm honest, I don't even know where the ones I've made are. They're somewhere in the stash, but it's probably like not so many that this is like what's that fallacy where like you feel like you've done too much work to give up? The sum cost, I think. Anyway. Girl, what was I thinking? And then the last one that I think we're just going to go and frog, but it's fuzzy yarn, so it needs to go in the freezer before I frog it. I had started this Milton. I have a sneeze coming, maybe. Excuse me. I had started this Milton and I don't like how different the color is. It's not doing it for me. So, and I had gotten 2 different of the brown yarn. One this is a Quince & Co. I want to say it's Chickadee, and then this is Alpaca Silk. I am thinking of holding this with the mohair that I got, and I forget what it was. But I think I'm going to hold these 2 together to make my Lento raglan. It doesn't take a lot of yarn, and I think that it will need the structure of this slightly thicker wool-based yarn versus the alpaca silk, which honestly might just turn into a shawl or like a little, like almost like a shrug cardigan, because I think that I have enough yardage of this, and it's so soft. So I do feel like it wants to be something in my life. So that one, I think I'm definitely frogging, because I feel like I mentioned this in one of the early podcast episodes, but like, it looks like dead opossum to me from a distance, or some other kind of roadkill. So, not really what I want to be knitting. So I think, oh, this was the one other thing. Something that's been in my to-do list in my journal for a little bit, particularly because it is getting warmer in New England, and I have like 3 t-shirts that I've knit, and when I rotate through that, I'm like wearing the same clothes at work, but I still want to be wearing my knits. So I pulled out these socks that I made a while ago. This is a Hunter Hammerson pattern, and it is a scientific name. It is, which one is it? Metopsilus porcellus, and I forget which book this one came out of, but it was her Cabinet of Curiosities. These are all, the lace patterns are based on various like 19th century science, you know, the science boxes, the shadow boxes that had bugs and butterflies and whatnot. So she always designs hers top down, and I really want to figure out how to make them toe up, because I just prefer knitting socks that way. But this is in here. I think this was Madeline Tosh. I really loved this sock yarn. This was in here because, oh darn, there's a hole in this sock. And I do think that is in part because I needed to knit these socks at a much tighter gauge. They are definitely like, they need to have more durability in the fabric. Like if I go like this, you can kind of see that like I can really separate out. It needed to be probably 1 needle size down. And I wonder if I was so bad at noting. Yeah, this is Madeline Tosh sock in Amber Trinket. And I only did what size. I only said what size. I didn't put the needle size. Again, past Mira, just dropping the ball. Anyway, so the point is, I wanted to darn these so that I can at least throw on a pair of socks, so that for my accounting of how much knitting I wear, I got one of these little kits that's like almost like a mini weaving thing, because I always used to just toss out things that had holes in them. But I really want to try to figure this out to actually darn this back, and it's like kind of at the bottom of the heel, so it really should be done in a knitty type of way. So we'll see. I'm going to experiment with this week. This has been on my list for a long time, but this is the first time that the box has actually come down to my staging area. So that was an activation step. If you know anything about behavior change and executive function, we just activated this task. Woohoo! And I haven't even taken my meds yet this morning. All right, so I think that's it for this week. I got a really lovely comment welcoming me back after my little hiatus after surgery. So thank you so much. Comments like that really light me up. Definitely, if you're watching on the regular, please subscribe and like and tell your friends. That sounds scary. I never want to be on Craft Snark. That scares me. Mean people on the internet. But I'm so grateful that y'all are so kind and lovely with your comments. So I will be back next week with some progress and more stuff as I kind of go through my mother's things and approach that year anniversary. I'm really grateful for you all. So have a wonderful week. Go forward with love in your heart, and I will see you next time.